Hey everyone, and welcome to another video here. So today we've got a special guest who is Shivali from Helium10. She's going to be doing an in-depth tutorial of finding products as easily as possible using their Helium10 software, which I've been using for years. So without further ado, we're going to dive straight into this. And guys, at any point, if you ever want to jump in and try the software, make sure there's a 20% off link for 6 months below that you can use at any stage. So yeah, Shivali, welcome, and I'll pass the screen over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on, Hayden. I'm excited to share some information about how to do product research. Now, product research is one of the most exciting times of your business, especially because that's what your business is going to be founded on. And there are so many ways to do product research. Now, when you're doing product research, of course, you can go onto Amazon, you can go into, let's say, bestsellers, go into different categories, subcategories, and trust me, I know what it's like because I've been there. I did this process manually when I was launching my first brand a few years ago. And the thing is this works as well, but it's going to take you a lot more time and effort than using. If you don't know what Helium10 is, it's a software suite of tools that you can use during your Amazon or Walmart selling journey. It has everything from product research to keyword research, listing optimization, operations marketing, you name it, we have it. And so over 30 plus tools, but product research, of course, is one of the first starting points. And so what I'm going to do today is show you Blackbox, which is our primary product research tool that processes over 2 billion data points daily, you guys. Over 2 billion data points. The amount of data points is something that you can't even do manually on your own, right? Even if you have a month, 2 months, whatever the case may be. So it's really, really useful. And what the plan is I'm just going to run through a demo. I'm going to explain 2 of these tabs up here, products and keywords. We do have other tabs as well. And if you're interested in learning how to use them, or even say you're maybe past the product research phase and you're looking at some of our other tools, all of our tools have a learn button at the very top that you can use to understand how to use the tool best. So I recommend clicking into the learn button if, let's say, maybe you forgot what Hayden and I talked about here today, or even if you're looking at a different tool, you can absolutely go in and learn it all on your own, just by trial and error. I think the best way to learn is by doing things. And so I encourage you to open up your Helium10 account right now with me as you're watching this video and do a play-by-play so you can also follow along, learn, and find some cool products of your own. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. Products tab is going to show you product listing pages, whereas keywords is going to show you search result pages. Let's talk a little bit about what that means before we dive into a demo. Products, when you're on a Amazon page, right, you're going to be taken to, let's say, a product listing page that looks like this. This is when you input in different queries based off the filters that we have provided right here. You're going to get an output down here, right, after you click search. And that's going to take you to a URL like this. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And then when you inside of keywords, you're going to be taken more to a search results page, not a product listing. So as opposed to a listing page like this, if I were to type in coffin shelf, which I spelled with enough F's, okay, but I had 3 in there for a second, but you'll end up going into a search results page that looks like this. You have over 1,000 results. And I personally like using keywords a lot because then you end up seeing particular niches that have low enough competition, but sufficient opportunity for you to actually go in and make some sales. Now, what is opportunity? Maybe you're wondering, Shivali, well, what filters should I be using? Well, that's really up to you. We only included filters that are useful. And so opportunity is defined really by the user eyes and the beholder sort of thing. I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But here, when it comes to filters, right, maybe you have a preference in category. Maybe you are a chef and you're really excited about the kitchen and dining category. Let me change this into America, which brings me to my point. Whatever marketplace you plan to sell in, make sure that you have that marketplace selected up here. Okay, because if you're doing research in, let's say, Germany, and then all of a sudden you're selling in America, I'm telling you, you're going to have a very different experience.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you?
Many times, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've been searching for an hour and then realised I'm on the UK instead of the USA, for example.
Okay, I was about to be like, how did you even get away with that? Because the Germany marketplace gives you German results. So I was
Yeah.
about to be highly impressed. If you spoke different languages and you just completely lost the.
No, same language. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So don't be like Hayden or myself, and make sure you're doing your research in the right marketplace. So we're back in the Americas. Going back to what I was saying, if you are a chef, maybe you're interested in doing the health or the home and kitchen category, kitchen and dining, but maybe I'm not interested in necessarily that. I'm interested in something different. And that's why we have these filters here, because you're going to get results based off the filters that you are inputting in. So let's kind of just talk a little bit about the filters and then go into clicking search and taking a look at what we find. This is my first time looking at this based off of the queries that we'll input. This is live, so I'm going to be seeing these things the first time that you're seeing them. And if we find something super cool, you'll see just how fast it is to find something super cool. If not, what I recommend to you is do multiple searches, all right? The point is not to go in, do one search, and then say, all right, this is going to be the product that I run with because this is what I found. That's not what you're doing here. You're doing a starting search. And so you'll do multiple searches with different filters combined. In conjunction, you'll go in, click search, take a look at the opportunities that are given to you, start creating a short list, okay? Short list, maybe 15, 20, 25 products. And from there, you're going to go into validation, where maybe you'll start looking at the price point. Is it profitable? Can you differentiate based off of all the other images that are present on that search results page, all the other competitors? Is it something you'll be able to stack up with in terms of reviews? Is there a value add that you can actually go in and do? So I just listed 4 or 5 different things you can use to validate that product idea. But of course, as you're going through and you're taking a look at your black box search results, these are things you'll want to keep in mind as you start listing out products before you reach out to the suppliers and say, all right, I want to start, talking about what it might cost me to source this product. So with that, filters. Products are going to give you different filters. The products tab is going to give you different filters compared to the keywords tab. You'll have, for example, in products, number of images, whereas you don't see that inside of the keywords tab. And that is because the products listing is going to be looking at specific listings, right? You're going to have, maybe you want to see a maximum of 4 images in which you are looking at unoptimized listings that you can go in, optimize, just have 7, 8 images, video content, right? The A+ content. And you can automatically have a better listing, which will hopefully lead to more conversions for your product. But with keywords, you're going to have niches. So you'll go in, you don't see the number of images filter, but we're looking at a niche. That's why. So let's, I'm going to do a little bit of back and forth here with Hayden, and maybe Hayden, you can provide me with some different filter criteria that we want to take a look at, and we'll go from there. Any
Sure.
filter search volume?
Go for it. Say again, sorry.
Sorry, for search volume. So this is going to be how many times something is being searched every single month. Do we have a maximum maybe we want to input in here?
I'd usually put a minimum of 200.
Okay.
Personally. And then a maximum maybe 10,000.
All right. Then we have monthly revenue. So how much something makes on average per month. And guys, if you forget what I'm saying, there's a little question mark icon you can hover over and it'll tell you what it means. So we have monthly revenue. Do we want to input something? Leave it blank?
Leave it blank. I usually leave it blank.
All right, cool. Price point. Price point is average price for top products.
Yeah, minimum for me is $25.
All right.
With a maximum of probably 50.
Okay. And guys, pay attention to what he just said. He's putting in a minimum and maximum for average for top products. And when you are, let's say, selling a product, maybe that's $150, right? What does that mean? Maybe it's an electronics product. Of course, that's a maybe. You might find it something that's not electronics, that's that hefty, but maybe you're looking at a larger sized item, you're looking at electronics, and those things require a little bit more money up front, right? So
Exactly.
keep that in mind. You will want to take your capital that you have, that you're planning to spend, into consideration. And remember, your goal is not to spend all of your budget on your sourcing, because you're going to need to keep a little bit for your freight forwarding costs, maybe you're sourcing in China or India or Indonesia, wherever the case may be, you'll need a little bit of money for getting that product to the marketplace you're selling in. Perhaps that's the US. And then you are going to also need a little bit of money for marketing. So maybe you only use 1/3 of that budget or 1/4 of that budget and then go from there.
Yeah, and equally, guys, obviously, Amazon fees are a lot as well. So you don't want it to cost $10 because then it's just going to get eaten up by fees and shipping costs. So
Exactly.
I think the 25 is a nice sort of entry level, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So just some things to bear in mind as you were going through and inputting filters in. So we do have 25 to 50 for the price range. What about review count, review rating? Do we have any?
Review count, I usually like to, can depend on various things, but yeah, maximum of sort of 200. Just so that we can, compete easily as a beginner.
Yes, perfect. So this is really great, right? Because when you are starting off as a brand new seller, you're going to have 0 reviews, meaning you're going to have a little bit of an uphill battle trying to get those initial reviews. But once you have them, hopefully you're able to compete with the other products. And when your top products have, let's say, 100, 200 reviews, not only are you accounting for the time that it will take you to source that product, because it will take you a few weeks, right, to order some samples, maybe go back and forth, talk about the customization, pick a supplier, get that product actually made. If you are branding that product, go into maybe doing an inspection, getting it here. If you're doing ocean freight, that's going to take maybe 6 weeks, right, 4-6 weeks. If you're doing freight, air freight, it's going to be a little bit faster. But there's some time that you need to build into this process. And so having a market that has top products at a review count of roughly 200, maybe a little bit less, is one of those things that will help you account for that time. So by the time you are getting to market, you can still actually compete. All right. You don't want to go into something maybe like collagen peptides, knowing that your budget is a lot smaller because that market is a little bit more saturated. It's not fully saturated. You can still make sub niches, but again, that's a little bit more of an advanced strategy that you would have to consider, and you would need a little bit more budget for.
For sure.
So going into review ratings, Hayden, what's sort of the top, I guess, star rating that you really end up buying, or minimum star rating you would buy?
As a customer, for me, what I would buy, I would, if it's 4-star, I'm thinking, oh, there's probably something wrong with this. If it's got 1,000 reviews and it's 4 stars, I know that product's got an issue.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, you can just tell, like 1,000 reviews doesn't lie, If it's a 4-star on average, it's probably a 4-star rating. Same goes to like Google reviews on restaurants as well. I know it's going to be 4-star if it's got a certain amount. So I would usually put in a maximum of 4 stars or 3.5, just so that I can sort of weed out products that have got issues that we can improve. I'm sure you'll do a sort of similar thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So exactly what you said, like most of us end up buying products that are 4.5, 5 stars. And you think that 4 and 5, well, they're not far off. Yeah. But how many times have you actually gone out to a restaurant that has 3.9 stars or 4.1 stars compared to, let's say, that 4.7, 4.8 star restaurant that you have access to? And it's the same thing on Amazon, because on Amazon, you have access to so many products, right? We just talked about how this tool processes over 2 billion data points daily. And so that's really what you're up against, is you have so many different products that you have the option of choosing. And so you can go in and find niches where maybe the rating isn't as well off, and you can compete really, really well. So that's one of those things that you can compete with. Doesn't mean that you can't compete against a 4.5 star rating or a 5-star rating, because again, guys, keep in mind, it's all about how you market it. Maybe you're marketing it better than the next person over. You have maybe a better value add. Maybe you have a better price point, whatever the case may be, or maybe it's all the above, right? And these are all things to keep in mind. Does not mean that you can't compete. There is so much opportunity still there for you to sell on Amazon. But yes, this is one of those things that can help you really narrow it down. Then you have word count. This is going to be for your longer tail keywords, indicating stronger buyer intent. And that's just saying that, if I'm typing in something like a medium-sized black hoodie, that's going to be a lot more specific than somebody who's typing in sweatshirt. Right? Now we don't know the size, we don't know the color, we don't know, like, maybe You were looking for a specific phrase on the hoodie. There's just so many different variations to consider. And if you have longer tail keywords, you're now looking at an audience that is warmer. They're hotter leads. You're going to be able to get in front of this target audience that is readily looking for something. And if you can just get in front of them, they're going to click and convert. And that's sort of what we like to see. So you can input in minimum if you want, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it blank and see what ends up coming up. But what about categories? Do we have any categories we want to do?
Well, I mainly sell in the grocery category, but that can be a little bit more competitive.
Really?
Although you've got to remember, it's dates, and a lot of people don't like dealing with the dates that come with grocery. But I find that as a good thing because it keeps the competition to a certain level.
It does, and groceries, they're people who keep coming back, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I mainly sell teas, jams, biscuits. That's literally what my niche is. But it's
cool.
I think home and kitchen's good as well, and pet supplies for sure is a niche I'm getting into now. So yeah, all of them are good, I think.
Awesome. Okay, so we selected 3 of them. We selected groceries, home and kitchen, and pet supplies. So we'll just stick to that. We do have some additional filters: keyword search, exclude keywords. So these things, let's say you have Q4 around the corner when you are watching this and you're thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to get my product sourced in time. So I'm going to exclude maybe keywords that include Christmas, Santa, you sort of name it. But
yeah,
you can go in, include keywords, or exclude them based off of the time that you're looking for things. Maybe you have certain things you don't want to see at all. You see them time and time again when you've done black box searches and you're like, you know what? No, thanks. You can go in and put that in. You also have shipping size tier. If you want to go in, select a size tier, you can do that. You have your number of sellers. So maybe those of you watching who are private label sellers or plan to be private label sellers, you can input in a max of 2. But if you are, let's say, retail arbitrage, wholesaling those products out, then you can put in a minimum of 2 so you can find those listings that have multiple sellers on them. You have variation count. Now, variations are really, really interesting because we don't always have access to the data that tells us which variation, what their BSR is really independently. And then maybe you end up having to source different sizes. So this is perfect for clothing categories, right? Where maybe I am open to that. Then I can go in, type in a minimum of 2. Or if I know that I'm not going to be able to have enough budget to source small, medium, large, then I can go in and input in a maximum of 2. All right. Okay, so with variation count, right, if you end up having different sizes for your clothing items, let's say, right, small, medium, large, maybe you do have budget for that. Then you want to type in a maximum or a minimum, of 2. But if you want to go for something that doesn't have all those variations, you can type in a maximum of 2. Then we also have monthly sales units. And so this is just going to tell me how many units are being moved every single month on average. You can use this maybe in conjunction with something like the age of the listing to understand if a product is brand new, but it's still making sales, or even the opposite end of that, where it's established and it's scaling, right? So these are some filters you can use to understand maybe how old or new a product is and how well it's doing accordingly. You also have best sellers rank, best sales period. You have your fulfillment type if you're looking for FBA or FBM. And then we have a few more filters here that I just want to cover. We have title density, which is going to tell you how many products on page 1 actually have the keyword inside of the title. All right. So we were looking at the coffin shelf search results page a second ago. And if the title density was 2, it's going to tell me that 2 of the products on the search results page for the keyword coffin shelf has the keyword coffin shelf inside of the title. And that's going to tell me how easy or difficult it is to rank for something. So when you are, let's say, finding these different niches that maybe have a maximum of 10 for title density, then I know that I'm going to be able to rank for that keyword because there's not so many products that are actually using that keyword inside of the title. But again, whether or not something is easy or difficult to rank for by including it in the title is really up to you. Maybe you think that 10 is not bad, or maybe you think that 2 is not bad. And that's really what this is here for you to understand. We do have the Maldives honeymoon podcast. So inside of Serious Sellers podcast, which is our Helium10 podcast, we had a few episodes where if you go in and you just search up Maldives honeymoon strategy, that's what's going to discuss the title density. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and give that a listen. We also have the broad reach potential, the potential for one keyword to find another when you're running your PPC campaigns. And then you also have the last three before we click search, which is competitor revenue, reviews, and ratings. Now, you might be wondering, well, Shivali, what the heck is the difference between the review count and the review ratings up top? And well, the bottom three are going to take a look at the top 10 organic placements. And so when I'm on a search results page like this, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10, right? And so you'll be able to go in and say, all right, I want to see at least one of my top 10 products have less than 150 reviews, which is different, of course, from what we said of a maximum of 200 review ratings, right? So this is the average number of reviews for the top products, which is those products on the page 1. And then this is top 10 products, all right? So we want to be ranking top half of page 1 because that's where a lot of people are really going to have eyeballs and they're going to be clicking in and purchasing. And so the higher up we can really rank, the better it is for us. So this is great for just understanding that. Same thing for competitor revenue. Maybe we want to see that they have more than 2,500 or 5,000, 10,000. You can input in, maybe I want to see 2 of those top 10 have at least more than 2,500. I can do that. Let's go ahead and click search. And when we do that, let's see. All right, so we still have 200 plus keywords found. And what I would actually even go back and do is refine our search because we're not going to be able to go through 200 plus keywords, especially if we're doing multiple searches. And so maybe we want to go in and say, all right, I want to find maybe 2 of them have less than 150. If it still says 200 plus keywords, which it still does, you can go back in and start refining, your search. You can say, all right, maybe I want to see at least 2 or at least 3 keywords. This is fantastic, but
loads of results.
Yeah, the thing is even as I'm putting more filters in, right, I'm still seeing a lot of keywords found. And if you end up doing the search and you find that it says only 20 keywords found, well, that's because you put in a very specific criteria. And that is okay. All right. I don't want you to get freaked out over that. Because the thing is when you are going in, you're not going to be able, or you're not going to want to actually go in for every single one of these and find products that, that you're opening up and you're trying to validate with those 4 or 5 criteria that I mentioned earlier. You're going to want to actually go in, refine the search, and then go through a more manageable set of a list, right? So here for now, let's just kind of run with this. We have 200 plus keywords found based off of the criteria we inputted. We have gaming rugs for boys' bedroom.
Very specific. Love it.
What?
Very specific.
Yeah, very specific. We have a good 5 keywords inside of this key phrase. And you most likely are looking for, let's say a consumer, right? If we're thinking about the consumer market, well, we know that they're gaming rugs. So these are people who are playing video games or, some sort of games. And it's specifically for boys as well. But when we open this up on Amazon, we'll probably find that there's multiple different variations of this because you have different designs, right? And here you could either potentially go into, let's say, basing this off of a specific rug. So maybe we look inside of the Chrome extension. If you don't have the Chrome extension, go to helium10.com/extension. That's /extension after helium10.com. And you'll have access to a few more tools that are on browser tools, okay? So when you go in, you'll be able to click X-Ray, Amazon Product Research, X-Ray Keywords, Ace and Grabber on this search results page. But then if you open up a particular product listing page, the other 3 will be highlighted as well. That will allow you to understand what the profitability looks like, what sort of stock they have in store, as well as what the overall buyer sentiment is, which is great for product research because you can understand what you want to maintain in a product as you are creating it, as well as maybe what you don't want to include. So you can go in, enhance the product, create something better that people will get more excited about, hopefully more than your competitors. You can click X-Ray and get an understanding for what the historical sales is like in this market for each individual product. So here we're seeing that, this product right here, right, it's black and white. You have this different, it looks like gaming controllers, if I'm not wrong, on it. Yep. Game controller decoration. So this is a $40 product. It's making 271 sales on average per month. You have your sales graph, which if we click, you can see the historical context. And then we also have it making 10K revenue. The seller is based in China, of which the $40 price point, $12 are FBA fees. So keep that in mind. If this is a rug, maybe it's a little bit heavier to source as well. The cost might be a little bit higher. So let's say that this product maybe cost us $15. If I click find suppliers on Alibaba, I can get an estimate. What in the world? This is way cheaper than I anticipated. Did you expect that?
No, it's really cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Obviously,
not
shipping's
expecting
not
that.
there, but yeah, it's still cheap.
Wow, what in the world? Okay, so, well, that's a pleasant surprise. So this is prime example of why you should open up your product ideas, check out find suppliers on Alibaba, even if you think it's going to be expensive.
And there's so room to, sorry to interrupt, there's so room to so much room to differentiate, you know, in a product like this, guys, you know, because there's so many gaming niches that you can go into. You know, some people are into like Call of Duty, Super Mario. I don't see any sort of army rugs, for example, you know, with the people that are into them sort of games. It's just so much room to differentiate, you know. So even if you're worried about that price point, you could add an extra 10 or 20 on as long as it's in a certain niche that, you know, is crying out for it. That's what I see.
This is wild. I cannot believe. Okay, well, what a nice surprise. So then we have ratings. We have review counts are pretty low, which as Hayden, you know, had selected for us, we had maximum of 200 for a review count, average review count. And that's what we're seeing reflected here. Doesn't mean we don't have some products that are above, but it's taking the average of all the products that are there. So something to keep in mind. Then you have images, review velocity, your dimensions right here. So check this out. This one's a little bit smaller, but then this one's a little bit larger, right? So this says large game area rugs. And that's another signifier, right? It's a different audience. You have people who are going to look for the smaller sized rugs and then the larger sized rugs. And so these, even though they're showing up with the same keyword, they are two different audiences. Then you have your weight, your creation date as well. A lot of these were created, 2021, 2022. We have somebody who created in 2023, which this Sunny Citron, even though they created in 2023, they're doing about 8,000 in revenue.
Oh, amazing. That's one of my favorite parts of X-Ray, the creation date. You
Yeah.
know, you can literally find out, right, who's launched recently that's doing well, you know, like, and that's got hardly any reviews. And then it gives you all the data you need as to say, you know, is there potential for me to launch one as well?
Yeah. And they're doing well because they launched in March.
Really well.
And they have 211 reviews. And well, I guess is relative because maybe you are looking for something to scale even more than this, right? I definitely know people in the space who want to scale and they want to do, let's say, like 50K of revenue a month. And then this might not be, maybe that fits that bill, but you can still, let's say, go in with several different products that are doing 10K in revenue or 8K in revenue and still make a really substantial profit.
Yeah, I prefer to go wide, keep things a bit, you know, safer.
Yeah.
Don't like too many eggs in one basket.
Yeah, sure. And so the gamer rug that we were just looking at right here, right? It's selling for $32. I can go in, click profitability calculator right here. And when I click profitability calculator, you're going to end up seeing that you can input in your price range. So here, let's say I'm selling this for about the same price point, right? It's 33. Okay, let's just say $30 for now. And then this cost me only like $3 to source. And then maybe my dimensions, maybe I'm changing this up. Maybe I'm saying it's only 5 by 10 by 10 or something like that, right? Then I can see that my margins change right here. Okay, so you're going to be able to see that your ROI here, based off of the time frame that you're selling it, because Q4 is a little bit more expensive to store your products at the FBA facilities. But you're going to see the price difference. You're going to be able to gauge whether or not something is actually going to be cash flow positive. Now, this does not include PPC costs, marketing costs. So you'll want to build in a little bit of a cushion to make sure that you are accounting for things like maybe having a Wix or a Shopify site. Maybe you're accounting for creating your images, right? Maybe you are outsourcing that. So things to keep in mind. Also, what I love to see is when their main image is not compliant with Amazon's best terms, like best practices.
Yeah.
This one, you're supposed to have the main image on a white background, and this one is not doing that. Even if you go back into the the main frame, right, you'll see that a lot of these are
I mean, it's
actually
hard to
all,
get a rug on a white image, thinking about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but all of
Wow.
these, I mean, check this out, like,
All of
not
them.
a
Wow.
single one.
Crazy. It's like Amazon have just
What a
forgotten
great
about the
market.
policy. Yeah.
What a great market, you know? Like, I love to see this because I get excited about this stuff. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is perfect."
Crazy.
So, so you can go in, and also another way to validate your product idea is, let's say you select the ones that are relevant and click Run Cerebro, which is going to take you into the keyword research tool. Because of course you don't want to just rank for one keyword, you're going to want to rank for multiple keywords. And so this gives you a better idea of, are people actually searching for this outside of that one keyword we just found. So you can go in, again, like different ways to validate that product idea, the profitability, the differentiation, the best terms of, that Amazon requires the images are on a white background. That's like one thing you can check. Price point, whether or not you can compete with the reviews with the price point, as well as the keywords. So we discussed quite a few different validation methods. Back inside of Black Box, we do see all those filters that we initially inputted. You'll see the actual historical information for the search volume actually right here. So if you want to check out if something is evergreen or not, you can do that by selecting this and going into all time. And you can see that this is pretty much all year long. It has a pretty steady search volume, between 200 and 400. But you can find something that valleys and peaks.
Yeah.
With your price point, title density, this one, not a single one is using this keyword inside of their product title. Easy way to rank for this. And yeah, so you have quite the information here. I'm actually going to stop my screen share, but we have quite a bit of information that we can actually use to find different product ideas that we can validate and be confident about. So I hope you learned a lot. That's a pretty brief run through. To sum it up, go into Black Box, put in different filters, find 15 to 20 product ideas that you can get excited about, that you can then further validate with the Chrome extension, just by taking a look at different metrics, even looking at the pictures, and then go from there. Hayden, if there's anything else that you feel like I should cover, let me know. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good sum up.
Yeah, no, I think that is. Yeah, so that's covering all the main things of product research, guys, and then it's just a case of, as Shivali says, using Cerebro to make sure you can rank for the keywords, and just building up your product category, your product catalog. Sorry, that's the word. Got my words out.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thanks, Shivali. That was fantastic. And guys, remember to get the 20% off for 6 months below if you want to give Helium10 a go. So hopefully we get Shivali on again in the future for another sort of in-depth tutorial.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks, Shivali. See you soon. Bye.